Welcome to the Dukes of Gaming podcast. This is the one and only episode 1, and I'm your host, Thomas. We have a bunch of topics this week that we need to get into, from PlayStation exclusives to Project xCloud. We have a lot to go over, but first, before we get to that good stuff, I have to introduce my fellow Dukes here. First off, Ben, how you doing this week, man?
What's up? Excited to talk about what I've been playing. Can't wait.
Me too, safe to say. Me too. How you doing, Taylor?
Doing wonderful. Doing great. Doing fantastic. That's
always
it.
Good.
Yep.
It's always good. It's good to have 3 of them.
I know.
Alfredo, what's going on, man? I love the green.
Thank you. Yeah, I got green over here. Still Duke of Education over here with that Fire Emblem, House of Blue Lions, but we'll get into that, I'm sure. I'll let you guys know how my students are thriving. I say.
Professor
Excellent.
Alfredo, I love it.
They're doing great.
I love it. Alfredo's for the kids.
That's what they say, you know. But you know, we'll see. I do lead them literally to their death sometimes, so
Oh
you know,
no!
it's
Don't
all
tell
part
me.
of the job.
Oh wait! Don't tell me you lose students.
I lose the non-important ones.
Who's not?
But,
All students are important.
Hey, we'll get into this. You know,
Demoted to Miss Frizzle.
My
You're
top,
Miss Frizzle.
You know, yeah.
I thought you were about the kids. You're about the most important kids.
You know, it's a cutthroat world out there.
I feel it. But I guess I'll start with you, Alfredo. What you been playing this week, man?
Yeah, let's get into it. That Fire Emblem. So I talked a little bit about this game, how I started when it first came out, which I want to say was like 2 years ago. Fire Emblem, Three Houses. I started with Blue Lions. I got like 50 hours into the game, and just so many things started coming out, and eventually I just lost interest. Trying to get to that nice backlog this year and been hitting some marks, and now I'm finally on Fire Emblem. I have officially passed where I was before, so we are looking good. And I guess the issue I had with it before was that I guess it was just too easy. I play on hard, but it was getting like too easy, too unpredictable, just the same thing over and over. But now that I have gotten a little farther in the game, what I really like is that they're throwing in a lot of new elements, and it's getting more challenging. I actually have to worry about keeping my students alive. But yeah, I'm playing Blue Lions. I believe, a third of the way. I'm about 40 hours in, but I got to the very crucial third part, I think. I got past where I was. I got past where I was.
Said it all.
I think, well, the issue is this game is like 80 or 120 hours, really depending on how you play for one path. This game has 3 different paths you can do, and I'm on one.
That's what I was going to ask about, like,
yeah,
how doable it is.
It's time consuming. I am playing this all the time.
It's doable if you know what you want out the game.
Exactly, and that's what I'm doing this time. So last time it took me 50 hours, and now I think I'm at the 40-hour mark, and I'm already past. So this time I know exactly what I want as far as who I want to recruit from other houses, and what I want my students to learn, like what classes. You basically have class time, which you teach them particular skills, which will translate into particular classes, so they can level up into those particular classes. So I know everything that I want now, so it's going about 10 hours faster, it seems, since I do know. But now, since I am, it might, I might start going a little bit slower because I'm in new territory. But my students are excelling. I have not lost a single one. I've only lost sometimes they give you like temporary ones, like just for specific battles of people who are not in your class, and I'm like, it's fine if they die. But
do you take students from others?
Oh yes, right. Only the best is allowed. So I'm in Blue Lions, but Petra, my girl, sword master, critting all the time. I got Lastithia is my dark mage. Who else have I? I got Casper, who I don't really use, but I got a couple people who are must-haves, and they are crucial additions. But like I said, getting to the part where it really matters and I need to pay attention so that they don't die. But Ingrid for the win. She's my top student. Pegasus Knight, now Falkland Knight. She's doing amazing. But I'm having a blast with this game. Clearly, 40 hours in, and I have no intention to stop. But I also did start playing Days Gone, which took a little bit away from my class time, unfortunately. Clans was talking about how he started, I think, 2 weeks ago. Like, you started it up, and you were talking about how the motorbike in Days Gone was a little bit floaty. I did notice that as well, super floaty. But I am happy to report that soon after that, you get a starter in quotes, a starter bike, which actually is much better in my opinion than the super bike that you initially get. It feels like a motorbike. It feels grounded. But I won't go too much into Days Gone because we're gonna do a Ben's book club for that game, and I got a
Is that the
lot.
official name now?
I think
Ben's
so.
Book Club?
I love
Alright,
it.
cool.
I mean, you thought of it, Ben. So
Yeah,
let's go.
that sounds good.
I think you
Uh,
describing games just there made me finally it got in my head how far we've come from Pong to
Keep the thief, Pong, yeah, all that.
It's
But
come a
yeah,
long way.
we'll get more into Days Gone later in this month, hopefully. Because I got a
Ambitious.
lot of thoughts. I think I'm about 7 or 8 hours in. And I'm enjoying it with caution.
Yeah.
There are issues with the game, but I will not talk about it here. You'll have to listen to it later. But yeah.
Yeah. That's good. I'm excited to hear you're jumping into it. There's been a lot of Days Gone chatter and news, I guess, recently.
Yeah.
I feel like we should just rope all of that into the
Oh, for
discussion
sure.
that we have about the game.
Absolutely.
But lots of interesting stuff to chew
Yeah,
on.
I'm
Absolutely.
very excited to hear all you guys' thoughts and just let you guys know the thoughts I have about the game, but we'll save that for another time.
All right.
But yeah.
Taylor, what you been playing this week, man?
Not much. I have really only played this week Animal Crossing, but who cares? And Streets of Rogue. I started playing Streets of Rogue, which
Nice.
is a lot of fun. Specifically
What is
because
that?
it is a top-down sort of how would I describe it? Like roguelike.
Yeah, I'm pretty
it's-
familiar with it as
Yeah.
well. It's like kind of like a point. It's a mix between a point and click and a roguelike.
Yeah.
Would you say that?
Yeah. Has anyone ever played Space Station 9?
I've heard of that. I've
Space
heard of
Station
that.
9, kind of a huge, massive multiplayer, top-down sort of shenanigan. It was kind of Among Us before Among Us, if I'm honest. It was you had to do a bunch of tasks, you'd do a bunch of things, and people would be online in the room with you, trying to stop you or help you. And Streets of Rogue is kind of like that, except it's all AI generated. You generate a bunch of characters, and you just have to get through each level with your tasks. You've got to complete your tasks. You can fail your tasks with your team, your individual tasks, but you have to complete one massive goal throughout the whole levels. It's a lot of fun. It's a great. I always want more and more online games that you can have real, super, almost intimate gaming experiences with friends. Because I mean, we've all talked about our love for Rocket League, which to me doesn't have that same sort of it's a great game. It's a great multiplayer game, but it doesn't have that like closeness because it's so chaotic.
Right.
Top downs like this game really give me this warm feeling of team building with real people. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's pretty cheap, and it's kind of silly. It's just sort of silly.
If I'm not mistaken, it's kind of like you can choose like your own classes and stuff like that too, right? Like it has class mechanics.
You got thieves. You got warriors. You've got doctors. You can be anything you want. And
That was cool.
Yeah,
Didn't
it's a
know
lot of
about
fun.
that part.
Doctors cannot use weapons, so that's pretty fun. You have a doctor on your team. They basically do nothing. It's kind of weird.
They heal you.
so-
They're the true support characters.
Yeah. So, and it's a great game. A lot of fun. I loved Space Station 9, so And I kind of
Nice, yeah.
I like Among Us enough, but this is so much more in depth than Among Us, which is just kind of one note.
Yeah, I tried to
But
play that game. I actually have it on Steam. I got it when it was like real cheap, like $1 or something. But for some reason, for me, I couldn't get into it. It seemed like it's similar to kind of like Prison Architect, right? Like when you're
yeah,
trying to like escape the prison, kind of stuff like that.
yeah.
And I don't know, it just didn't grab me. But I know a ton of people love it.
Yeah, the couple of games I've played, since everything is procedurally generated and there isn't a set rule set for each level, sometimes you get real duds. Sometimes you get real stinkers of levels that just don't feel super interactive. You get some levels where every 20 seconds a blast of radiation goes through the city, so you have to be inside every 20 seconds, but you still have to make your way through the level. That's fun. You have levels where there's cannibals hiding in trees and you've got to avoid them at all costs. That's more fun. Then you have just levels that are just like, there are some cops. They're not going to shoot you if you don't shoot them. You know, there's no. You just walk straight through, and yeah, no, it's some of the levels were stinkers, but some of the levels when they got really kooky mechanics, beautiful, beautiful little gaming moments.
Nice.
Oh, I'll have to look it up. I've
Yeah.
never heard of it.
If we all get it, we can play a little bit because it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
I'd
It's
be
all
down.
on Steam.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'll see if my Mac can run it.
Good luck with that.
Exactly. I guess I'll go next. So I'm kind of embargoed from talking about what I've played for two reasons. So I'm doing the reminisce at the end. So
Ooh.
can't
Man.
talk about that game, and then there's another game that I can't talk about. But what I will talk about is I've been busy this week, but I got involved in two tournaments for two different games. And one is probably one of the worst games that's been released in the past 5 years. This game is a little game called Jump Force. I don't know how familiar you all with Jump Force.
The anime fighting game, right?
Yes.
Okay,
So
okay.
I am, for some reason or another, very, very, very good at that game. I wanted that game to be good more than anybody on the planet. Like I remember when we saw the E3 trailers, I was so hyped. I was like, we're getting all my favorite anime characters, one game, one showstopper event, and it was shit. It was horrible.
Can I ask
It was-
what's so bad about it exactly? Because I was really excited for this too, and then it came out and it was kind of like people didn't really
So
like it, but
here's
They've
the
got
thing.
everyone.
yeah.
Oh my
They got
gosh.
everyone. Here's the issue. Here's the issue with the game. So just Google the art style. For some reason, for an anime game, they went with a realistic art style.
Yeah.
And they put them, and it's like they do have, different worlds from the animes, but the main worlds are like Las Vegas, Tokyo, London. It's like there is no reason. And then when you're in the story is horrible. Like the story you expect to be bad, because how can you mismatch all these animes into one story, make it make sense? They managed to make it even worse than it needed to be.
Oh, no.
It's horrible. The online is horrible. But when you host private matches and you do because on the Reddit forum there is like tournaments. So once you do tournament stuff, it is a little better. But just matchmaking is horrible. You'll end up waiting like 3-4 minutes for one match. You'll have a lot of even I'm wired in, I still get lag. So it's a bad game, but I have a lot of fun playing it. So I'm a masochist. I don't know.
Can I ask how they shoehorned Yugi Moto into it?
Wait, he's in it?
Yeah, he's in it.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
he's actually one of my favorite characters. So,
What did he
here's the
do?
thing about-
Summon monsters?
yeah. So
Okay.
essentially, they removed the fact that if he got punched one time by Goku, then he would be flattered on the wall. They removed that fact, so that fact's gone. He fights by summoning cards. So it's like his main attack is Dark Magician, just firing Dark Magician Blast. I don't know what those are called.
Oh, so okay, like Pokemon Trainer from
Kaiba's in the
Smash.
game as well.
Hmm?
Yeah, Kaiba's in the game. I don't know if
Yeah.
y'all know Yu-Gi-Oh, but
Yeah.
Kaiba's in the game. One of my all-time favorite anime characters. But they have everybody in the game, so you would think that even from a nostalgia standpoint, it can I can't convince anybody to play this game. I have my set group of
Hey,
friends,
I'll
and
play
that's
it.
as far as if you
I
if
will play
you
the
get
game. How much is it though? On sale, probably like $10.
so I don't know if it's on PC. I know you can get a copy for like $20 at GameStop, and then the Ultimate Edition is 22 on Xbox.
Okay. Is it
So it's not.
cross-play?
See, I don't know.
Okay, we'll find this out.
I don't believe so though.
I'll look into
I
it.
would not give the game that credit. I don't think they got so many issues. I can't imagine that they added that feature.
Fair enough.
You have to have
But,
people playing the game to make that.
right.
Hey,
I know,
is it
yeah,
solved their
it's not a popular
problem?
game.
Maybe.
Right. But so I've been playing that, and then I had a 2K NBA 2K tournament this week.
Nice.
Love 2K. Don't really talk about it that much, but yeah, I love 2K. So didn't win the tournament, came in third place, but still fun.
Pretty good.
Still fun regardless. Appreciate it. Still fun
Nice.
regardless. So yeah, that's what I've been playing this week for the most part, besides the games that are embargoed. But Ben, take it away. What have you been playing this week, man?
I'm going to lift the embargo.
All right.
Returnal. I've been playing Housemarque's latest title, the I guess second true PS5 exclusive, or third, because if you count Astrobot. It's awesome. I know Nick and Alfredo, you guys have been playing it too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it,
Let's talk
gentlemen.
about it.
Where to
So
start?
I'll just get the facts out the way. So by Housemarque, Housemarque is known for hits such as Resogun, Super Stardust HD, I believe, right? Dead Nation, Hell Riders.
Apocalypse, I believe, and Nex Machina too, as well.
So they've made a good amount of games exclusively for PlayStation for a while now, without being a first party studio.
Yeah, I
This
think Matterfall was another one of them.
Matterfall, you're right. Yep, that's another one. So yeah, they've made a good and this was all on the PS4, right?
Mostly, I think Super Stardust HD was PS3.
Yeah, and I
Yes.
think Dead Nation was also PS3.
Okay. So, but for the most part, they have been in a PlayStation, kind of like Insomniac in a lot of ways. You know, not I don't think they're owned by Sony, right? But they are a part of the pantheon.
Yeah.
Yeah, they work very closely with PlayStation, and PlayStation, I think, owns a lot of the IP that they produce, like Resogun. I'm pretty sure is a PlayStation IP now.
Right.
So yeah.
And I think for me, they hit it out the park. Cause look, I love Resogun. Resogun, in a lot of ways, is similar to this game in terms of it's opening up the console, what the console can kind of do. Resogun was one of the best looking games when it came out, as far as an arcade shooter. I had never seen an arcade shooter look that good. And it showed me, we're getting a huge bump in quality for PS4 games. I remember when that came out, and and you just cut the PS3 version on, you're like, oh, this is a huge difference. Like, this is kind of showing what this console is capable of. Returnal is like that on steroids.
Yeah.
Like what this game is doing, to me, honestly, the best way I can describe it is it's like an indie studio got AAA money to make a game that is, because there's a lot in Returnal that is very similar to their arcade games from the past, but it's with this huge budget and it's maximizing everything the PlayStation 5 can do. This game is amazing. It's my game of the year, and
Really?
I can't say any bad things about it right now. So I'll let you all take it away if you all can name anything. But for me, this has been an amazing experience so far.
How long have you played it? How far are you in?
So
Sorry.
I faced the first boss once, and then I had to go on an anime wave and I had to watch some anime. So I was very close to beating him the first time. So I feel like I'm going to, as soon as I get the next time, I'm going to beat him. And then I'm probably going to go on a long gameplay run that time to see if I can get as far as I can. But yeah, I've gotten in probably at least like 3 hours, 3-4 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds right. What about you, Alfredo? How far?
So I've actually played a lot considering I just got it yesterday after work, after like 5. So I'm at around 7 or 8 hours, somewhere around there. And I just hit the 4th biome. So there's 6 biomes in this game. I'm in the 4th one. So this is actually my first Housemarque game. Well, actually, I played Dead Nation, wasn't really my jam. I love twin stick shooters. I love bullet hell games. I love roguelikes. So this kind of sounded like it was up my alley. I'm really familiar with, Hades, playing Wizard of Legend, and other kind of games like that, Enter the Gungeon, stuff like that. So I was really excited to kind of see how, one of these roguelikes games would work in a triple A manner and see if this game was worth $70. And that was my biggest concern because I didn't expect me to debate so much whether or not, a $60 game or a $70 game. It's a big jump. It's big. And considering roguelikes generally cost $20, maybe $30 for something like Hades or something like that.
Was Hades $30?
I believe it was 20, I want to say. But
Really?
this game does remind me a lot, if anyone has played Remnant from the Ashes, this game is like that, but more polished and as a actual AAA game. So as if Remnant from the Ashes was, given that AAA budget. This is what I would envision this game to be. Not as bullet helly, but in terms of the Dark Soulsness and the roguelike-ish qualities. However, so I'm kind of comparing this game, the $70 price tag, with those games like Hades, which are like fractions of how much game is. As far as Returnal, I'm really, really, really enjoying it. I love roguelike games. I love these types of game in general. It's challenging. It fills that itch like Hades did. However, I personally don't think in comparing it with those games, other roguelikes, I don't know with the 7 hours that I have put in, the 7, 8 hours, I don't know if it's worth the $70 price tag associated with it. Just because for example, Hades, I put in like 20 or 30 hours with that game. And it's a fraction of the cost. And I had a lot of fun with it. It has a lot to offer. Not taking away from what this game obviously does offer, but it seems like I probably wouldn't have paid $70 for something like this because I feel like it's a very similar experience for a fraction of the cost with other games. However, I am very much enjoying this game. The story, even though I'm in like more than halfway, kind of, the game handles it a little weird, but you kind of have to like figure out the story, which is really interesting, and I haven't figured out much
It's
of
very
what is
Dark
going
Souls
on.
that way.
Yeah,
It
yeah, you
wears
got to
its
figure it
nipples
out.
on its sleeve. Yeah.
Yeah, which is totally fine. But at its core, this game is, an arcade game and a roguelike game, and it does what it is striving to do very, very good, like pretty excellently. And I'm having a lot of fun, but I don't think it's worth the $70.
It's not a bad thing.
I mean, that can definitely change. I'm not done the game. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get done the game, so maybe it'll change as I get farther and as I see, if there's other mechanics that come in later in the game. But I'm excited to hear what you have to say about it, Ben.
I've got a number of really standout ideas that this game put in my head over the first I'm about 5 to 6 hours through. I think those ideas are one, a simple idea. I don't think anybody making games is making particle effects to the degree and to the quality that Housemarque is making.
It's not even close.
They're just incredible.
It's not even
It's
close.
incredible. I've never seen anything like it, and they use it in such artistically expressive ways too that others just don't think to do it. right? Particle effects are for smoke or water splashes or cool lasers and things like that. And then Housemarque uses it for all of that stuff. But crumbling stone enemies and then you can like play around in the stone after
Yeah.
they crumble. It's just so good, and they're so good at it, and they have been for so long. I mean, I would have said the same thing about Resogun too, but they've really brought it into I think AAA package. Like I don't, so far 6 hours in, I don't regret the $70 spend on it at all. To me, this is the game that it most closely reminds me of is Control, um, because of the weirdness, the strangeness of the architecture, all that sci-fi background to it,
I think the
but also the game.
protagonists are very similar too.
That's
Mhm.
true. Yeah. Stoic-ish
Right.
female leads. Um, and I think, but the thing that really reminds me most closely is the combat loop. Like you have to keep moving. That kind of push
Mhm.
forward combat that Doom is so good at. Um, yeah, control was all about that. If you stood still in control, you were going to get you in control, and in Returnal, your player character is very susceptible to damage and is very easy to kill. And there's no cover. You're not going to hide from enemies for the most part. I think Returnal handles it better. Like I am enjoying the combat for all the same reasons, but with fewer pain points. Um, this is another big idea that um, that I just think Housemarque, the design of this game is really good. This is really, really good design. They've cut so much of the fat. It's just lean. It is exactly what it needs to be. I guess the third idea is that I was worried when Housemarque announced that they were leaving the kind of arcade game roots that were their bread and butter for so long, that they were leaving that behind to explore new things. And then they started making this battle royale called Storm Divers, which, as far as I know, is either canceled or indefinitely on hold, because they decided to make Returnal instead, and Sony gave them some funding. Um, I was worried that they were going to lose what is great about that studio, which is this twitchy, fast, incredibly balanced combat, just really good arcade type stuff. They didn't lose any of it. They brought all of it into this AAA package
Mhm.
and then added more. That's what's really special about this. It's got all the Housemarque DNA in there.
It's a great third-person shooter. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
just
Yeah.
on the merits of its shooting mechanics, it's one of the better third-person shooters I've played in a very long time.
I mean, yeah, and going within that, we can kind of go into it, how it makes it unique, and that's the dual sense itself. The way that they handle the shooting in this game, so for the left trigger, if you pull it halfway down, that's how you aim your main fire. If you try to, and the dual sense kind of has a little hesitancy. If you farther, then that triggers your aim for the alt fire as your secondary for the gun that you're on.
There's like
And
a resistance, right?
yeah, and it's really cool. It took me a bit to get used to at first because obviously, we're all used to in Call of Duty or whatever shooting game, just pull the trigger. It's a really clever way not only to have a way for to free up more buttons and allow for more buttons, even though you still have uh the same controller that you're always used to, um, just to free up buttons and allow for different mechanics, but it feels great as well. I mean, the dual sense itself, you can feel raindrops on the controller in certain parts. You can literally feel when your ult charge is charging, when you just use it, and when it's ready. Like you feel it and you get used to it, and all of that helps you kind of master the mechanics of the game itself. It's unparalleled in that nothing has ever done anything like this, and I think that's part of what makes it special in that regard.
When I knew it was real was when I feel the raindrops on the controller, and then I step under a tree in the game and the raindrops stop.
Mm.
When I did that, I was like, that is something I have I expected, oh, you're gonna keep feeling the raindrops no matter what while you're in this level. No, like when the rain is not gonna be on the character, the raindrops stop. It's little things like that that separate this game. It's truly because look, Astro's Playroom probably would I consider be the first next gen title. I can't consider Demon Souls a next gen title. I love that game, played a lot of that game. It's a PS3 game that has next gen paint over it. Spider-Man Miles Morales, love that game, nearly platinum that game. It's on PS4 and it plays just as well on PS4. It looks a lot better on PS5, but this is a PS4 game that's been ported to PS5. Returnal feels like the first true next gen experience. It's the best looking game I've ever seen. I know maybe some people would say Cyberpunk on PC, that's a game that people use as a benchmark. But as far as a console game, this game looks incredible. Like you said, the DualSense controls are revolutionary. And the part that I don't see getting a lot of talk, and maybe it's because I'm an audiophile, I care about this stuff. This game with headphones is on another level. This game with headphones, like, I care about things such as sound mixing, how, the environment mixes in with the soundtrack. I care about those things. And this game, I've never seen a game handle it as well as Returnal, where
Yeah,
you can
I
hear the soundtrack, but all the effects going on, you can place every sound with something going on the screen. It's incredible.
it's really good. And to Alfredo's point, I feel like the way that the sound design and the DualSense play together, it's all about the stuff, the feedback that you're not seeing necessarily. It's the sound and the touch giving it to you at the same time that really just pulls you in that extra bit.
Yeah. Wait
It's
till
magic.
you
Really
guys
cool.
get to the second, third, and fourth biomes because they do some really cool stuff in how varied the different environments are. So I don't want to spoil anything, but they're very different. I literally just got in the fourth biome, and it's pretty similar to one of the previous ones. So I'm holding out hope that it doesn't kind of like repaint and like reuse environments with like a new coat of paint. But the ones that they do make unique, they are very different, and they make use in the enemy types also that you find in them. They just step it up every inch of the way, where you have to get used to everything that they throw on you. And many, not really a spoiler, but get ready for the third level because they got some suicide bombers and they killed me one too many times.
Oh man, I hate those in games.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hate those. And
They
I
were
feel
the
like
one
every game
enemy
has a type of those
dominant.
opponents too.
I'm still struggling with the second biome.
The second biome, I think I hit. So basically, on my first and second death, I died before I even got to the first boss at all. I made it pretty far the way the first way, like an hour I played, and then I died somewhere in where a new enemy type popped up, and I just did not know how to handle it. The second time I died really quick, and then my third run was golden. Like I just happened to get all the best artifacts. I started learning, okay, I need to actually move and not treat this like a Gears of War where I'm just hiding behind this thing. And I just hit my stride, and after I defeated the first boss, I got through the entire second biome, defeated the boss on the first try, made it to the third one, and then I met the suicide bombers
Met your
who
fate.
wrecked me. Yeah, but it does some real cool stuff.
I thought you guys were trolling for a minute. I really did, because I don't know anything about this game. I don't have a PS5. I Googled it. I heard you guys talking about it, so I went, Google. I want to have some context, and I all I found was a Hearthstone-esque card game, and I was like, oh, Returnal. Oh,
Yeah.
so when I hear
Yeah,
you guys talking about particle physics and nonsense, and I'm like, in a card game? Okay, it might be really nice particle physics, but calm down. Oh, the gun handles pretty well. All right, never mind. I've misheard someone.
AAA card game.
Yeah, it's just I was
maybe
so
one day you'll get that
confused.
game.
There's
hilarious.
it's funny. I was talking about the design of the game earlier, and one of the things that I really love about it is that I don't know how you guys find the map to be, I find the map to be extremely usable, and I love that all the necessary items are highlighted, so there's no hunting around for shit. The pace of this game is fast. Everything is fast.
Mhm.
Player movement speed is fast. The enemies are fast. So you want to keep moving and progressing and gaining traction. So hunting around for like audio logs and health packs and stuff like that, it's just not. It would just slow this game to a crawl. So the fact that it's all highlighted there, I find the minimap to be a little like confusing just because it's so small. I don't know if you can resize it or anything, but the in menu map, I'm just highlighting all of the stuff and where to find it is
Yeah, the when you pause, that one's good. The mini map is a little. It's not enough. It's too small. Like I wish you could resize it,
Mhm.
but the main map's fine. I think it's a pretty solid map. I've
I
seen worse.
I
Jedi
do
Fallen
wish
Order.
for the main map, I do wish that they had so in the mini map, they actually highlight, like, if there's a gun drop here, if there's, like, a health pack here, it's on the mini map, but when you go to the main map, they don't show any of that. So sometimes I'm like, "Oh, I wanted to wait to get this because this specific parasite would work in conjunction with this, so I wanna leave this item here, come back when I have, something that would benefit it, and then come back." But the main map doesn't have it. So I'm always like, oh, where was it? And I have to like kind of backtrack. But you kind of get used to it and you're kind of like, okay, I got to remember this is here near this fast travel point. So I don't know. I definitely agree. They definitely as far as the mini map goes, later on, especially, it starts doing some like verticality, and that's where the mini map is a little because sometimes I'm like, okay, where is this? I know where it is, but just because this game expands so much, the I'm in particular, it's like very vertical. It asks the player basically, hey, all these stuff we're teaching you in each of these biomes, we're on it, and you need to learn how to pull your, which I kind of appreciate, challenging games as well, and this definitely fits the bill.
It's a very challenging game. There's it's nothing wrong with being challenging. It's interesting because it's when you think of PlayStation exclusives, I don't really put challenging next to them besides Bloodborne.
Mhm,
Bloodborne's the only one. This is a very like interesting experiment to me by PlayStation. For this to be the first big exclusive since Demon Souls and Miles Morales, I'm
mhm.
interested to see what these sales are going to be like. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously,
yeah.
since not a lot of people have PS5s, it's going to be capped to a certain degree,
Mhm.
but I'm going to be interested because I would love to see more of these type of games.
Yeah,
Like
and
these
Yeah.
because they're not exactly triple A, but it's
mhm.
not double A either. It's somewhere in the middle of that because it's not a Last of Us budget. It's not a God of War budget, but it's a pretty sizable budget, I must imagine. Probably the most
Mhm.
money Housemarques ever work with, I
Oh,
assume.
for sure. Yeah, and I assume I think the sales for this game is gonna surprise a lot of people because I went into GameStop to go get it. Support GameStop, everyone, because I love my physical copies. And for once, they finally had it because sometimes Fire Emblem on launch day they didn't have any for some reason. Anyway, so they had it, and they were telling me how like a whole bunch they got no pre-orders for it, but literally everybody was calling them and asking them if they had this game. So apparently, a lot of people are getting this game, and I think it has to do with the fact there aren't too many PS5 exclusives out there.
You gotta
Uh,
justify this $500 purchase.
Right, right.
You
So,
got
and
to.
this is the new hot game that just came out, and it's kind of
And
the
it's
only
good.
one available.
And it's good.
So, it's kind of a good combination for Sony because they released it, and I wouldn't expect most people to just pick up this game just because, roguelikes, I don't think most people play those games like mainstream. This is like the first mainstream one, I would assume, besides Hades, that might have introduced people to it, but like this is the first PS5 one, and I think it's going to help that there aren't many games out there for PS5, and people want to play games on their new console.
Seems like a lot of people just didn't know what to expect from this game.
Mhm.
Didn't play a Housemarque game before. Housemarque's not a household name the way that Naughty Dog or Sucker Punch now is.
That's
Um,
ironic. Housemark, not a house movie.
yeah. And I heard a lot of chatter about why is this $70? Why is this a full price game? But the review scores have really turned around the sentiment on this game very quickly,
86 on
and the game
Metacritic.
itself. I mean, yeah, it's
86.
it's reviewing extraordinarily well, and it's just awesome. It's great. I wanted to know what you guys thought about the only like truly novel thing that I've never seen before, or I think I've never seen it before. Maybe you guys can tell me of an instance um, of this. The malfunctions in the game. You pick
Never
up
seen that in a game.
an item that is, yeah, when you pick up an item that is malignant, it will like give you the thing that is its function. Whether it's resin, it's going to up your health, or just some item. If it's malignant, it has the potential to make your suit malfunction in some way that gives you a debuff. The debuffs themselves and debuffs that you can opt into, that kind of thing, it's been done. What I love about the malfunctions is that it gives you like a small quest to undo the malfunction.
Right.
Like you get a malfunction where it's like every time you pick up something, you take a little bit of damage. And the way to undo that malfunction is to kill 20 enemies or something like that. So now I've got like a little side objective that I have to play around with if I want to get rid of the negative effect. I love that. It's awesome. It's just every single thing in this game has some risk reward element to it. You're constantly making these little evaluations. The fact that I know that I can opt into some malfunction because I have the ability to get rid of it myself, if I just work at it or prioritize that. It's so cool. Have you guys ever like heard of anything like that before?
No, as soon as you said malfunctions, I knew we were going with it. It's like because the whole game is really risk and reward, picking and choosing what you want to upgrade at the expense or risk of something else. Sometimes it works out, other times it can ruin your playthrough.
Right.
I love it. It gives another layer of gameplay.
Yeah, and I
So
play.
I love the malfunctions and the parasites. To me they kind of go hand in hand. In terms, I've never seen them implemented in that way in a video game.
Yeah, I agree. I play quite a bit of roguelikes, and I've never seen anything like this. And I think it lends itself to this particular genre because, especially in this game, they don't tell you anything but the basics when you first start out. They teach you how to shoot the gun, how to aim, and how to do your ult fire. But the rest, as far as items go, you don't know what resonant. It tells you, this will restore your integrity. What the hell is that?
It tells you after the fact, and then you have the data bank that you can look into. But
yeah, you really
not
have to,
before you try it. Not
right?
before
You really
you
have
try
to
it the
figure
first
it
time.
out. And with the malfunctions themselves, they'll tell you, like Ben said, some are like killed this many enemies, but some are like use this for melee kills. You need to use consumables. You need to like use stuff that you're collecting in so that you can kind of teach yourself. Okay, I have all these other things at my expense. Even though I don't really know how to use them, this kind of makes you use them sometimes, and then you'll figure it out in a way that will that will help you later down the road, and you'll be like, "Oh, I can use this now because I know this will help in this particular way." It's really clever.
The other clever thing for me, and I don't think I've ever seen this in a game. With the shooting itself, when you run out of ammo, you have that split second to get your ammo back with the overload. I don't think I've ever seen that in a game. That to me, that completes the gameplay because it keeps everything fast paced. Because if you had to wait that second every time for the reload, that would kind of mess up the pacing.
Mm.
The fact is, like when you run out of ammo and then you have that split second where you have to shoot within that window and you get your ammo back. If you don't, to me, that's a mini game in and of itself. And
Yeah,
then
it's
you
cool.
can,
There
and
are
depending
other
on the
games
malfunction
that
you
have
have,
done
it
it.
can stack up even more. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think the term for that mechanic is a active reload. Because you have to you have a
Yep.
timing window.
Mhm.
There are a few other games that have done it.
Yeah.
I think the only one that I can think of is Star Wars Battlefront 1 or 2, I forget which one did it, or maybe both.
The newer ones?
Yeah, the newer
Mhm,
ones.
mhm.
Okay, I
The
okay,
dice,
that makes sense.
the dice developed ones.
That's
I
cool.
kind of have a problem with the active reload because it's the thing to activate it is the same button as shooting. So like
Shoot.
when you're just
Yep.
shooting, you sometimes don't realize that you're already at the end of your ammo pool,
Mhm.
and then you hit the
You
trigger
click it
again, and then you've already
accidentally.
screwed up the active reload,
Mhm,
which is just. I mean, like it means like if you want to get the active reload right, you have to really pay attention to how much you're burning through your ammo and like how many
mhm,
rounds you have left. But uh, there's so much visual information going on in this game
mhm.
all of the time, and
You know what?
almost
I'll
all
put
of
that
it
as
is
a negative.
way more attention grabbing than the ammo counter.
Yeah. I would say that's a main negative for me. That's the only negative I can think of now I'm thinking about it. There is a lot going on the screen,
Yeah.
and it is easy to kind of overlook certain things because there's just so much going on.
Oh, just wait. Just wait. You guys
Oh,
haven't seen
man.
anything in that first
Oh,
file.
man. Oh,
The,
man.
the
But
only other the only other negative that I have right now is I did have like one, at least I think it was like a total bullshit death, where I had no way of knowing that a thing was going to kill me before it killed me, and it didn't damage me a little bit. It wasn't like I was low health or anything. It just fully killed me. There was in the second biome, I came across like an optional room. I also love that about the map where it shows you by the shape of the door icon
Mhm.
whether
oh,
it's going
yeah.
to lead to a whole new chain of things or whether it's an optional room. That's awesome. It's so good. Like, why do I need to guess in this game? Why,
Mhm.
why do I need to like try first and then come back? You don't. They tell you which one's optional. They just save you the time. But anyway, I went to one of these optional rooms, and there's like these lasers that are crossing, and then a pool of like what looked like blood or some red liquid or something. And so I like dashed through the lasers, but the red liquid itself killed me. It was only like
Hmm.
waist high. So I don't know how I was supposed to know that that was going to kill me,
That's
or
really
if I was
weird.
supposed to know that that was going to kill me.
Yeah, that's weird.
That was kind of BS.
I came across that same hazard, but I was like, okay, game level, let me not jump in that. And I like was trying to get somewhere and I accidentally went in it, but nothing happened to me. I sank a little and then I was just able to jump out. So I don't know anything about that
Okay,
yet,
so
but
maybe it was like the laser hit me and I just didn't see the laser hitting me or
maybe.
something.
I don't know. There's a lot this game does not tell you on
Yeah.
purpose. So I'm sure I'll find out next time I jump in it. Maybe I will die. I'll let you know.
Last question to end the topic. Is this a system seller?
I
Yeah.
don't think it needs to be. I think the PS5 is selling on its own, and this is just an additional, "Hey, here's a new game that you can buy with it because we have so few." I don't think it's a system seller. I think Miles Morales is that for this, even though it's available on the PS4. But as we all know, the numbers for Miles Morales came out, and they are real good as far as attachment rates to PS5 goes. So I don't think this is a system seller per se. Um, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
For me, I would say no, but if you want to test out how much the PS5 can impress you,
Hmm.
this is the game. From a 3D audio perspective, just maximizes that to the fullest potential. I am curious now how games are going to implement 3D audio because this game just blew me away with that. As far
And
as
DualSense functionality.
DualSense is a big one, and then runs at 4K 60. So it checks all the boxes you would want from a next gen game. It makes me excited for the future. I don't know if I'd say this is a system seller, but if you have a PS5, what the hell? Just buy the game.
Yeah,
Enjoy.
I think
If you like roguelikes by the game, I would
I
say.
don't even know. Like, if you have never had a roguelike, I'd say try it out. If you don't like roguelikes, don't get this game.
I think what I hope is that it's the reverse, and that enough people have PlayStation 5s and are hungry for something that Housemarque has a really big success on their
Mhm.
hands. Because if enough people buy and play this, this is the breakout hit for them. And that's what I really hope, because the game is of that quality, to push them into the next echelon, and maybe Sony buys them or whatever. But yeah, I don't think it's a system seller. Roguelikes and roguelites are too much of a niche genre to be something that you can ground your console sales in. And also, like you guys were saying, I mean, like the PS5 didn't need games to sell it, because there's like hardly enough PS5s to buy, with no games. So yeah, so I hope that it's the reverse, that enough people have PS5s and just need someone to play.
Be
Who
honest,
said last week? I'm sorry. Who said last week that the PS5 was the PS4 Pro? Who was that?
That was me.
That was a quote.
That's how I've been using it, because I've been like playing Dishonored and playing things on PS Now, because there was nothing on it. But now I'm playing Returnal, and that is a PS5 ass game. It's really using the features that are unique to PS5. So yeah, finally I got something that elevates this thing beyond a PS4 Pro.
Next week you get another game.
Taylor,
next
what
month.
were you saying?
I, as an outsider without a PS5, hearing you all talk about it did perk my interest. Looked it up a little bit while you were talking. Listened to what you were saying. I'm persuaded, I'll say, towards buying a PS5. But at the same time, I think Ben is on the right path with the PS4 Plus, because I still don't. There's not enough of a reason to buy the game. This game sounds really cool and really nice, but not enough for me to drop money on a PS5.
Taylor, there might be some reasons why you should buy a PS5, and we're getting into them right now.
Lay 'em on me.
Sony just had a state of play. So these happen once every couple of months, I'd say. It's not an annual thing. It's they have it, maybe once every bi-quarter, I guess.
Whenever they feel like it.
Yeah,
Honestly.
I don't think there's any rule for the madness. I think they just do this whenever they need to announce something. They announced a couple key games. Subnautica, Below Zero, I think it's called, the sequel to the original Subnautica. That's going to be coming to PS5 at some point. Among Us is also coming. I don't know if anybody loves Among Us. That's coming to PS5 as well. But there's another game, I believe, that's coming out by the name of.
Wait, that can't go. That can't go
That's
unexamined.
so straight-faced. You said that's so
You don't know
straight.
if anybody loves.
Look,
how many millions of people love Among Us?
I
A lot of
like
people love Among Us.
Among Us with friends, but I've tried to play in public lobbies. Have y'all ever tried to do public lobbies for it?
No.
I have never played this game. I'm so uninterested in it.
We should play it. We should all play it. We should all play it, because I think it's fun when you know the people in the game.
It's a bluffing game. It's like Werewolf or Mafia. So if you enjoy those games, this is a little more video gamey version of that.
Right.
Guys, I do not have 8 friends, okay? I don't have enough friends for that game.
You have us. We will get an Among Us stream at some point, whether it's a month or a year from now. We're gonna do it.
There you go.
I guarantee. But there was another game that was announced at the State of Play. It's a little game called Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Now, how many of us have history with Ratchet and Clank?
A little bit.
I got a lot of history.
I have recent history, but I did not really grow up with Ratchet and Clank.
Same. I only played the 2016 version of it.
And you're gonna hate me. You're gonna hate me. My history with Ratchet and Clank is not. It's not good. I don't care for Ratchet and Clank.
Oh man,
I played it when I was a kid, and I'm like,
am I the only fan of this franchise?
You might be.
Oh no!
I love Ratchet and Clank. I just didn't come around to them until 4 or 5 years ago.
Same for me. Well, I wasn't impressed with the 2016 version. It seemed like a game that was so up my alley, like that type of platformer shooter, cartoony. I'm all in. But when I actually got around to playing it, it didn't impress me. I think it was because I didn't have the nostalgia. But that said, I am excited for what this one has to offer, just because it seems like so much of a mechanics improvement itself. So I'm really excited for this new game, and we'll probably be getting it day one.
Me too. So I was already convinced to get this game, and then they dropped this trailer, and it's like I don't even know what to say anymore about how good games are starting to look now. Because when you look at this game, it's hard to differentiate it from like a Pixar movie now. Like it's very hard. Even when like it's not a cutscene, they're just walking around, they're going through the stage. Like it looks so good now. And Insomniac, it's just, they're one of the best developers in the world.
I think it really helped when I was at least watching the gameplay trailer that they dropped. I was so impressed with how alive the world looked itself. Like there were so many things happening, just as far as pedestrians, like things flying up in the air, just a lot of things happening. It made it seem like, oh, right, now we can do this now that we have the technology for it. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, it makes all the difference because usually, you know, they do the bare minimum. Like you might see a couple NPCs here and there, but like this looks like it's like a lived-in world. And like you were saying, Thomas, it looks like a Pixar movie too. Those transitions that they're doing,
Right.
seamless. It's
That
incredible.
city looks more cyberpunk than cyberpunk.
Yeah.
And it's
Like,
only one dimension too.
Right. Ben, what are your thoughts on it, man?
It looks really cool. It looks really, really cool. Apart from the instantaneous loading in of new environments, nothing is setting my imagination alight. I think that's kind of my take on Ratchet and Clank as a whole. I really enjoy playing them. They're fun. They're funny too. But there's just nothing exceptional about these games to me. This game looks awesome. I will play it. I'm not sure if I'm going to play it immediately when it comes out. I guess depends on how good it really is. But yeah, I don't know. Nothing. There's just nothing standing out to me.
This is gonna sound weird, but you're all talking about how good it looks, and the cities, the scenery, all looks awesome. I kind of am getting an Uncanny Valley vibe from the characters. I think we've gotten so good at graphics. I think graphics for games are so good that these cartoony characters are kind of becoming like Alita Battle Angel to me, where they're almost real, but still not enough. And it kind of, if I was a furry, I'd be very excited, but I'm not, so I'm not. Yeah, I when I saw one of the characters on Twitter the other day, I was like, I kind of don't want to look at that too long. Luckily, in the game, you look at them from behind. Again, if I was a furry, I'd be excited, but it's, I don't know. Some of these graphics for cartoony games are kind of getting a little weird in my brain.
Too good,
but also
Too
still,
good.
yeah. I don't know.
I feel you. Why I love, like, the one thing that I can't take away from this game that I'm looking forward to is seeing Clank with ray tracing. Like every time I see him, I'm like, this man is so shiny. I remember when he was just gray. This man is the shiniest he's ever looked. And I played these games since I'd like to say in like second or third grade. Like this man has been gray my entire life. This man is shinier
Growing
than a
up.
ring. Like it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think this game, I'm hoping at least this game will bring a lot of non-believers into it. Because for me, like I said, the 2016 version remake was a little disappointing, but I'm holding out hope because it seems like Insomniac is stride, especially with how great Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales turned out. I feel like they learned a lot just with the development of those games. So I'm excited for them to return to their, one of their classic franchises and see how they can update it to modern era. So I'm hoping that it'll bring in more people and kind of bring me on board to some of the, people who've been playing it since they were in second grade and kind of make me a fan out of Ratchet and Clank. But I will hold my breath until next month.
To be
So
to be
fingers
com-
crossed.
to be completely honest with you, Alfredo, how this game's looking to me, I don't know how many people it's going to convince to be new Ratchet and Clank fans because it looks very Ratchet and it looks like pinnacle Ratchet and Clank.
Mhm.
It doesn't look like it's changing up the formula. It's just adding so much to what's already great about the gameplay. Because when I look at the gameplay of it, it looks like typical Ratchet and Clank, but it's just a lot more going on in the scene.
I think what will help is as long as they can update it to a modern, just the mechanics itself, as long as they update
Oh,
it,
got you.
because the 2016 version felt like it was a PS2 game with a, PS4 skin paint job on it, is
Got
what it
you.
felt to me. So if they can nail the mechanics, that will probably make me a fan because that was the only thing for me that that game was missing, that it felt a little old mechanics was.
I think a game that, like, I don't know if you've played A Crack in Time.
Mm.
So
No.
that is the last game from a chronological standpoint.
Okay.
That was the last one on PS3. Now, that's to me the best one they've ever made. Just from a story standpoint, from a gameplay standpoint, they perfected the gameplay. This one seems like it is a sequel to that. That's what it seems like to me. It doesn't seem like it's a sequel to because the one before was the movie tie-in.
Mhm.
It was a remake of the first game. This looks more like a continuation of the franchise we got on PS3.
Which I'm excited for because I know a lot of people, loved A Crack in Time itself and said it was like it improved so much more. So I'm excited for all those reasons. But I don't know. My fingers are crossed because I'm a little bit worried, but I have faith in Insomniac with the previous games that they gave us. So
I think they'll learn from Spider-Man. I think I just looking at just gameplay, I mean, he's moving a lot faster than he's ever moved. Like Ratchet's moving really fast through these stages.
All the new traversal stuff too, grappling hooks
Right.
and running on walls and all that good stuff.
It's always been there, but it's been sluggish.
Yeah, it's just fluid. Looks
Right.
much more
It's
fluid.
super fluid. That's the part that I think is going to, if anything's going to convince people, because I think what you said, Alfredo, was right on the money in that the PS4 remake of the first game it felt like how Demon Souls feels as a PS5 game to me.
Hmm.
It's looks great, runs great, but it's still an old game. I think this would be the first one I think that could definitely convince people. But it's still more Ratchet and Clank, which is what I'm going to enjoy.
might not be a bad thing. So we'll see. Oh, can we talk about a little bit? How do you guys feel about how the structure of the state of play was, by the way? Because they led with Subnautica, then they went into Among Us. Like they gave us two of these games for me. It seemed kind of random, and then they were like, "Here's Ratchet and Clank."
Here, truth be told, I don't think they need to do that state of play at all.
Yeah, I
I
think
don't
they
think
could
you were
just release
convincing
the gameplay.
anybody to buy Ratchet and Clank. I
Well,
think because the game has already gotten a lot of previews already.
Mhm. Yeah,
It's already
I agree.
gotten a lot. The trailer just dropped, I think, less than a month ago. And Returnal is coming. I don't know why they would release a state of play right before Returnal drops. Like
Yeah.
I was kind of confused about that aspect of it, especially for like if you're gonna show, let's say, like Horizon, if you're gonna show new gameplay of the new Horizon coming out, then I kind of understand. That game's far enough apart, but I don't know. I just felt it was kind of weird because if you're gonna do that, there should be more games here than just Ratchet and Clank and Subnautica.
Mhm.
And
It's
because
a good
Among Us
it's a good
is
point
an
to
old game.
It's a good point about like stepping on Returnal. There's like all this surprise success, and the review scores are out, and they're only out for like what, a day, half a
Right.
day before
Yeah.
the state of play
It was
completely
like the
steps on
day
it.
of.
I think it was the same
Yeah,
day. I
right.
really think it was the same
Yeah,
day.
Mhm.
It was crazy. I was from a PR standpoint, from the
it's
couple
bizarre.
PR classes I've taken. It's just like this doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you step on this? Like, even if it's a couple of gamers, why would you even like put yourself in the situation when Ratchet and Clank's gonna sell itself, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, they could have just waited a couple of days, released the
Right.
gameplay trailer, and
You
at
didn't
least
even
let
you just released
Returnal
the
have its
gameplay
limelight.
trailer. You
Yeah.
could have put that on Twitter and get the same response.
I don't know why they did that.
Like I said, I think I said last week, PR there sucks. I'm calling it right now. Their
Yeah.
PR just sucks to me.
I don't
Hey,
know.
yeah,
It's
PlayStation, if you
working
want
for them.
I mean, if you want,
Right.
to get more gamers ideas, contact us, PlayStation, we'll help you out.
I'm saying, dang, you could have asked me. Just ask Thomas. Like, should we do the state of play? No, no.
Move it this far, or, just release the gameplay, but
Just put Among Us as a press release on the blog. Like it's
Uh,
like that's not.
look at. I guess from my perspective, because no, I tune into the Nintendo Directs every single time without hesitation. Even though I know I'm gonna be disappointed 50% of the time, I always tune in. And when I'm pissed off, and when everyone's pissed off, when Nintendo said Among Us coming too, like they built it up, everyone thought it was gonna be Zelda or something cool. They started off with Among Us. Twitter goes wild, yelling at Nintendo, you're pretty sus, Nintendo, or Reggie, or whatever. And that's great. That's good. That's really good PR. That is amazing PR.
they're talking about them.
You can get everyone talking about it. And I don't know. I don't think anything's wrong with them just constantly putting out these weird press releases. Same goes for Sony. Obviously, like the more presence they have, the better. I think for everyone. Except for Returnal, whatever it was called.
Yeah, I know Housemark was like, "What the heck, Sony? Why?"
They love to do it.
But yeah, it was a fine watch. I guess it wasn't the worst thing in the world, of course, but didn't really need it.
Mhm.
Anybody have anything else to say about the state of play?
Excited to play Ratchet and Clank again in a month.
It is a month. You know what
Yeah.
isn't a month?
What? Tell me.
xCloud. We
The
talked about
release?
it. So here's what I think they're doing. I don't know if they're doing an official release because I have access to it now.
But you're in the beta, right?
It's the beta, yeah, but I didn't have access last time we talked. And
Mhm.
then I randomly was like, let me try it out. It loaded up, just typed my email in, and it was like, yeah, welcome to the beta.
I did a stealth drop on you.
I think they're slowly releasing it to everybody. I think it seems like that's what it's going to be. Because I have friends who didn't have access either, and they logged in and it worked. So I tried it out for about 3-4 hours. The main takeaway that I was not aware of is this is not Xbox Series X quality streaming. You're not getting the Xbox Series X or S quality experience for this. This is basically an Xbox One streaming service, which I wasn't aware of. So you notice it with the loading times. Loading times are pretty hefty for a lot of games that, if I cut it on my Series X, if I cut on Forza, for example, it loads up very, very, very quickly on my X. With this, it took a little longer, and I was kind of shocked by that. And I was using on my iPhone, so that was the one thing that was new because I've used Remote Play, but Remote Play is pretty hit or miss. With good Wi-Fi, this is really good. It's like having a portable system.
Did you try it on your computer at all?
No, I didn't try it on my computer. I tried it on my iPad though. I
Okay.
tried it on my iOS devices, and got good results on both. I don't have the top of the line Apple products. I have a iPad from 2017, and I have a iPhone 11.
How did it run in terms of lag? Like, did you notice it and button inputs and all that?
The button inputs are fine. I didn't have any issues with button inputs. Lag, it depended on the game. So I was playing Halo. Halo worked perfectly. It was surreal playing with my friend who's on his Xbox Series X and I'm on my iPhone, and we're going through the campaign and we're just going through just to test it out. Going through the campaign of Halo 2.
Nice.
Playing that on a phone is surreal. Like I never thought we'd see the day where it's just like besides like streaming from a console, this thing is just running on my phone.
Have you
So
messed around with PlayStation Now or Stadia at all?
I mess with Stadia. I've never tried PlayStation Now on my phone. Is it available on iPhone?
No, no. Unfortunately, that's a huge miss right now for Sony. I'm not sure
Yeah,
what the hell
I
they're
think
doing with that.
they should. I
Yep.
think with PlayStation Now, I think that they're plotting something. I feel like there's something in the works with that. There has
Yeah.
to be, right? Like there
Yeah.
has to be something because they're gonna have to have an answer for Game Pass at some point, whether it's
How does
this
it?
year, next year.
How does XCloud compare to Stadia?
To me, it's better. As far as my experience, like with Stadia, I never got it working perfectly on my phone.
Mm.
Never got it working. I've had I used to have an Android, so I had it on there as well. And yeah, the lag was just too much for me. I never tried it on PC. I'm sure with PC, all this stuff works a lot better.
I'm sure with
I
a Ethernet to plug in, maybe.
right. Right. I'm sure with the hard Ethernet, this stuff is working really well. I've heard Cyberpunk on Stadia works really well.
Yeah,
I heard
that's
that's
right.
the
That's
best.
right.
I've heard
Yeah,
that's the best way to actually play Cyberpunk, which is hilarious.
that's funny. I hadn't heard that, but that's like the advantage with Stadia because PlayStation Now is the same way. I mean, if you're streaming a PS4 game on PS Now, you're streaming it at base PS4 quality. You're not even streaming it at PS4 Pro enhancement
Mhm.
level, let alone PS5 enhancement level.
Right.
I assume that PlayStation and Xbox have similar reasons for not doing it as the Series X or PS5 versions of these games.
I'm sure they would be off.
Primarily,
I'm sure they'd be awful from a streaming perspective because right now it's working fine, but it's using the base Xbox One.
yeah,
So
I'm not
I can only imagine as far as I'm sure the loading times will be better, but it's gonna
right.
look the way it's gonna look. And that's all gonna depend on your
They
network
could
there.
still send you like a 1080p stream of the PS5 version of the game, and then you'd have 60 frames per second, or or whatever other enhancements of these PS4 games. But I assume they don't do it for the same reasons that they're not producing more consoles, which is because the hardware is just limited. So
Right.
they're going to prioritize getting the consoles in people's hands before they try to up their infrastructure for their streaming services, which is probably the
That makes
same
sense.
reason that xCloud is not using Series X level stuff, and you're not getting any SSD benefits because there's just like not enough physical material to go around.
Right.
Um,
That's a good point.
yeah,
I think that
that's an
probably is the
assumption,
answer, to
but
be honest. Like, yeah, it's just not enough people. Like they know that they have so many Xbox Ones and PlayStation has so many PS4s out in the wild that that's going to be the main people trying to do this,
yeah.
Mhm. Would
especially since it's the
that
free
is an
service.
advantage. That is an advantage with Stadia, and I assume with Luna. I actually haven't looked into Luna very much. Amazon streaming service, but Stadia plays like high spec PC versions of these games, which is why Cyberpunk is great on Stadia.
Right.
Mhm.
The
for
only thing with Stadia, you have to buy the games individually, right? If I
mhm.
remember correctly.
Yeah,
That's the main disadvantage. So you're paying for that quality. And in principle, like Stadia is fine. I'm sure on a PC it probably is the best experience, but are you trying to pay for those games and have them locked to this platform?
right.
That was the issue with Stadia. I don't think it was ever the quality. I know for me the mobile quality wasn't that great, but maybe it was my internet when I was using it. But yeah, from the standpoint of you have to buy these games again and then they're stuck on Stadia. And whenever Stadia goes bottom up, I don't know when that's going to be or if that's going to happen. I feel like that was the main issue with Stadia. I think the idea of Stadia wasn't bad, but now that xCloud's out,
They're in
I
trouble.
don't know I don't know the future of Stadia because while they're different services in terms of their structure, they're very similar in a lot of ways as well. So I think xCloud has the potential, especially now that's on iOS officially. I think if if it launches outside the beta, they've worked out all the kinks. I think it could be a big thing.
Cool.
Especially if on E3 they announce, we're going to be, so they give a timetable when they'll start supporting the Series X or S. When they do that, and we have a timetable of when this is going to happen, I think we start seeing the hype for that get bigger. But I had a
Yeah.
good experience. I liked it. Some issues with, input lag and everything, but overall, never got to play Halo 2 straight from my phone. Can't say that anymore.
Nice. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna hop in when I can. And then hopefully let you guys know on PC how it compares too. But yeah, sounds like it's gonna be pretty big in the next coming months at least.
I think so. Microsoft's good at hyping up things. So I think when they get the actual release for it, if they ever do that, because I would not be surprised if everybody just gets access to the beta. They're just slowly doing it so they can make sure the servers are able to be maintained.
Mhm.
And then once they're confident in that, they just announce the release date, even though everybody has it already, essentially. But we'll see. We'll see. I'd say for anybody who didn't get access to it yet, try it out again. Try that link out one more time. It might work for you. All right. So the last thing we need to do is we need to go over Reminisce. So Reminisce is our podcast within a podcast where we take you down memory lane to a different time in gaming. Maybe not a better time, but a different time. This week I'll be doing it, and I want to take everybody back 2000. I was at a Blockbuster. I go into this Blockbuster. I'm in the gaming section. I'm only allowed to get one game for the weekend. There is Medieval. There is, I forgot the number, but it was a Tekken. And there was this little game called Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. So you guys can guess which one I picked up that day.
Do tell.
Yeah, please.
So
I'm waiting in suspense.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 at the time, and if you look at just the IGN scores and the review scores, this game was getting like 9s and 10s out. Like this game was a critical. You think it's The Last of Us? Like it was scoring out the wazoo. And then when you play the game, I mean, back then there was literally nothing like that ever. It's truly one of those revolutionary games. And so this week I decided I'm going to get back into this because when the remake first dropped, I put a lot of time into it, and then dropped it because, you kind of get tired. But this week, I have my enhancements, have the PS5 enhancements, have it on my monitor. It's running at 120 frames per second. I'm like, let me get through. Man, this game from a nostalgia standpoint hits all the right, it hits all the right notes that you'd want a remake to do. And what I did was, let me get my old PS1 out. Let me try to go back to the old one and see how this game really feels. And my God, how on earth did I play this game? How,
Yeah.
as a kid, did I play this 20
Yeah.
frames per second? Can't even see Tony's face. Tony's face looks like just polygons. Like there's no face there. It's just polygons with something that looks like eyes, a mouth. I don't know how I got to this game, but when I was a kid, I thought this game was so revolutionary. I thought this game looked how the remake looks now.
I don't think you're alone in that. I feel like everybody, as far as PS1, we all kind of uh, have those, rose-colored glasses on for those
Right.
games. And as far as my experience with Tony Hawk's, the only experience I had with that, I haven't played the remake. I didn't play the OG on PlayStation 1, but I played the demo when they used to do those PlayStation demo discs. And I played the mess out of that, and it was so much fun. So you're making me scared about going back to it, but might have me needing to go to the PS5 enhanced version.
It is a great experience. Like playing it at 120 frames, it feels like how the game was always meant to be played. I love this game. Like It sucks that I can't even put it in my top 5 games of last year because last year was last year. There's so many great games from last year. Like, in a lot of years, that would be my game of the year. But because it came out with some of my favorite franchises of all time from last year, it's just like it kinda got thrown to the wayside a lot, and I think it sold decently. It didn't sell the it didn't I don't think it met expectations, I don't believe. So I don't know the future of us getting more of those games, especially since it's Activision,
Hmm.
and Activision's gonna Activision. So
Remind
I
me,
don't know.
did the game does the remake have online? Like, any
Yeah,
sort of multiplayer or anything like that? Oh,
yeah.
cool.
You can do matches where you're competing with somebody else trying to get the most points, or you're collecting the letters skate.
Hmm.
So you gotta go through the stage and try to collect them for the other. There's a lot of online challenges. I would say that's not the main part of the game. Like, that's not what I spend the most of my time. I've done that with friends, but for the most part, I'm doing just, soloing because the game
Mhm.
is hard enough by itself just trying to complete. There's like 800 challenges.
Well,
So
keeping you busy.
yeah, it keeps you like that's a game that I will not platinum. That's not gonna happen. But I'm gonna have a good time. I'll probably spend a good, you know, 10, 20 more hours in it. Just have a bunch of fun. Just, get those nostalgia glasses on. And this is how the game was. I always envisioned Tony Hawk looking like this. It's just now technology has caught up with my imagination.
You can see his face now.
Right.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Besides that,
Wait,
it's
hold
been-
on.
what's up?
I was just googling a little bit just to
Oh, no.
some background just to find out like how well it sold. It apparently it's sold pretty well, at least initially. It sold about 1 million copies in 10 days or so,
Oh, okay.
which was the fastest selling entry in the franchise, which was good. I'm not sure how overall sales, but there's I'm reading this Forbes article that says that the estimated sales of the series, total copies of the series, is 1.4 billion copies sold.
There've been a
The
Whoa.
lot of
Tony
Tony
Hawk
Hawk
series.
games. There've been a lot of Tony Hawk games.
I did
Whoa,
not expect that.
It
that is a
was
lot. That is a
it
lot.
was Call of Duty before Call of Duty because it was a yearly game. It came out every single year. That was I like to say that was Activision's cash cow before Call of Duty.
Yeah,
Crazy.
definitely one of them. I don't know, like how many other series can say they've sold billions of copies.
Mm.
Like definitely Call of Duty, definitely Grand Theft Auto.
Some of the
I,
I'm pretty sure Mario.
Mario, yeah.
Mario,
Well, I don't
Pokemon,
know.
yeah.
Mario's a little. I said it, but I was thinking. I was like, I don't know. Mario's on the
Mario maybe
border,
because it was bundled in with all the NESs and right
and
or
there's so many Mario games.
Yeah, it was on
or
I mean,
many.
it is on
Yeah,
every
Zelda, I definitely know that it hasn't sold that many.
no, over a
Tetris,
billion is just
maybe.
it's crazy. Anyway, just wanted to
No,
earmark that.
no,
crazy.
absolutely no. It's Tony Hawk that had its moment in time in gaming where that was the game, and I think now we've moved past that time. But it was. I will always be thankful for Activision for at least giving us the game that we always thought we had. Will we get another one? God willing, but we shall see. But this has been the Dukes of Gaming podcast. I'd like to thank all my Dukes here. Shouts out to Taylor for recording. Appreciate you, bro.
Love you.
Alfredo, Ben, thank y'all.
Anytime.
And thank you, the listener, for listening or watching this podcast. You can find us on all your podcasting services. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, and we're coming to more near you. And you can also find us on YouTube as well. You can find me at my Twitter handle, The Real Thomas. You can also find me on my website, The Year 4000. Where can we find you all? You all want to plug into your socials?
Furman_Ben at Twitter.
Greatest show in the galaxy, YouTube.com.
I am not on social media, but PSN Riku12764.
Excellent. Hey, Hey, add him, y'all.
Yeah, I need friends to play Among Us.
We got when it drops on PS4, we got to do it. We got to do it,
So
man.
please add me. I'm lonely.
Besides that, this has been the Deuce Gaming Podcast. Thank you. Signing out.